You got it.
Okay. So tonight I'm going to talk with you guys about getting a booking from our bookings and doing a Facebook party. I just was thinking, I'm going to start out by telling you my flashback to March, April of last year, when all this kind of situation that we're in started. The company did a Zoom call for the directors in, I believe it was in April. Okay. And so leading up to that, I, had done a couple of Facebook parties and online parties prior to that, but didn't really have a system in place. I was just kind of winging it. Right. So, it was in April. The company did this Zoom call and they talked about doing Facebook parties. And so they shared different ideas, and 100% truthful, I had a bad attitude. I mean, I was sitting there on the call, but really I was rolling my eyes because there's no way that I was planning on doing Facebook parties, like zero intentions, stinking attitude. Like I cannot even begin. I'm not going to go into it, but I had a bad attitude. I was in bad headspace last April. So May 1st rolls around, or around the beginning of May, and praise the Lord, I have one of my clients who she had tried to have an in-person party. Prior to that, I was on my way home from a trade show somewhere, and I was supposed to stop at her place on the way home because the way where I was driving, it just ended up, it was on the way. And honestly, I was exhausted from doing this trade show. And so she ended up canceling it, and I was not complaining. Okay. So she contacted me in May, and she said, I've been thinking about that party, and I was wondering if you would want to do a Facebook party. And so, okay, here we go. I'm like, well, somebody's asking me to do a Facebook party. I can't really say no because I'm the person that generally asks, right? So bless her soul, she was my very first hostess. And I had contacted a friend of mine that I knew had done some Facebook parties and had been doing, online parties and stuff. So I kind of asked her for a bit of a run through of what she did. And she forwarded me a bunch of images that she used. And I think there was a document that had some scripts in there. And so she sent that to me, and I was like, okay, well, I really have no idea what I'm doing here. But so we went ahead with it, and I scheduled everything. But I'm going to get into how I run it afterwards. But I followed that to a T because I really had no idea what I was doing. So my first Facebook party that I did back in May, I think it closed out around $1,200. And I'm like, oh, what have I been doing this last 6 weeks? Why haven't I been doing more of these? Like I would have had a better attitude back in April. Anyway, I booked another party, and the next one I sold $1,400. So I am like on cloud nine, right? I am hooked. I'm gonna get over myself, and I'm gonna do Facebook parties. So moving forward, that was kind of my initial. I had two that were $1,200 and $1,400, and then after that, they kind of simmered down. I had a couple where it was absolute crickets in there, and it's funny because actually the hostess messaged me, and she's like, "Oh my God, there's crickets in this group." And so now fast forward to February 14th of 2021, I kind of think that I like to maybe have a bit of an idea of what I do when there is crickets in the group, but then I was still learning. So moving forward, I kept booking parties, kept asking people. I just was on a roll, getting a booking from another booking, and just, going forward with things like we would, but in a Facebook party. And so I just want to tell you, at the end of June, we finished our qualifications for our car. Rewind back to January, we were not exactly on track for the car. We were, hills and valleys, up and down, because the fall before that I had moved, and so just was dealing with life stuff that happens. And so anyway, then all this, the way that life goes. And so I decided, okay, you know what, as the way that things were going, we had a great May. And then moving into June, we ended up finishing our car. And I personally sold over $11,000 retail in the month of June. Don't ask me how I did it. I just counted down. I don't even know how I did it. I just kept going, and I did not count my sales up until like a month later, when one of my good friends was like, hey, you have to, seriously, how much did you sell? And I was like, okay, I'll sit down and figure it out. So anyway, how do I run them? So I run the hostess program, simple hostess program that Mary Kay has. I think it's on In Touch, the 10% of party sales, 15% of party sales with one booking, 20% of sales with two bookings. I did not recreate that. Everything that I run is I stick to what Mary Kay teaches. And so I even use the image that I think it's still, maybe it's still on In Touch. If not, it's on Pinterest. You can find it, change it a little bit if you want, or if you find that someone else has created another one and you like the way that image looks, go ahead. But my rule of thumb is they have to have, and I used to up it to 250 in sales. Now I just leave it at 200. If they have a minimum of $200 in party sales, they get 20% off. And you guys, if you have not hosted a Facebook party with another company, or any party with another company, well, if you have, then you obviously know that there is minimums that there has to be met in order for the draws, in order for the hostess credit, in order for all the things, all the fun, exciting stuff. There's minimums that have to be met for that. So why do we not do that in our business? Because we pay our own hostess program, right? So why do we not set that boundary, that standard of, okay, if that's what everyone else is doing, that's what we're doing. And so that's what I run. And I run them typically. So today is Sunday. I feel like I'm kind of in a whirlwind, because I've been doing a couple launch parties for some new consultants, and I threw one in on a Thursday when I normally like run them. From Sunday is when we kind of do the intros and the meeting everybody, and then we wrap up on Thursday. And Thursday is like when I kind of wind down and I can like not wear makeup for a day, and I can indulge in some wine and can just not have to, not think about working for some time. Whereas, not to say that I'm always working when I'm doing them, but you're kind of just checking in with people and seeing where they're at and all that. So anyway, so usually I create the group on Saturday. And so just on Facebook, I create a Facebook group and I title it Tiffany's Mary Kay Beauty Escape. And, and so then I usually put like a heart on there. And one thing that I've started doing, because I'm running different ones, this is just my own little thing. Last week I color coded the hearts in purple. So I'm like, okay, when I'm going through to find my groups, and it was like, I forget the hostess name, but I had so-and-so, so-and-so, and so-and-so. And when I'm looking for their group, I'm like, oh yeah, purple heart, that's her. Okay. So because I do now, I'm getting to the point where I've got a few groups. So I'm going to get to that, what I do with the groups afterwards. But I've started doing that if I'm running more than one at one time. So Saturday, I create the group and I add the hostess in. Sunday, and I let her know, I message her and let her know that the group's up. She can start inviting her people right away. And then Sunday, I start out with, and I do post like a hello, kind of, just blanket message. Welcome to Tiffany's Mary Kay Beauty Escape. I'm so excited to meet you guys here tomorrow and officially kick off on Monday. Like, it's just kind of a very basic message. And then Sunday, I start out with, I introduce myself. I introduce Mary Kay. I talk about, this is what you can expect from the party. So I like to number the posts so that they can follow along and they can see 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so there's 4. So I've read those ones. So if they're kind of, I don't know, if their head works like mine, then it's easy for them to follow along. And I post, what I've started doing is posting the link to my website, or if it's a launch party for a new consultant, posting the link to their website right at the top, and I mark it as an announcement post, because it never fails that people are like, where's the link? How do you get to the e-catalog? La da da da. It's right there at the top. They can't miss it. And then that way, if I end up that I'm not near my phone for a couple of hours and I'm not on seeing comments, then somebody can be like, oh, sweetheart, it's right up at the top. And someone else can point them to where it is. It's handy. So that's Sunday. And I also post a kind of an intro post, and that varies. Sometimes I try to make it goofy. Sometimes I try to make it, whatever. I just something to get them interacting. And then if things are still a little bit flat, and also depending on my day, if I had a lazy morning and, didn't get things going in the morning, then I might post later on at night a game of some type. So, there's always some different images. You can look them up on Pinterest, but what's drop of a gif of your husband's response when he says no more Mary or no more makeup. So just like something silly, something whatever, just to get people interacting. So then on Monday Monday is generally skincare. And so I run it basically just like I would a party, right? We go through skincare, and then from skincare, we lead right into foundation primers. And I think Monday is mainly, I focus on the skincare. So I do all of the skincare sets. The benefits obviously of cleaning your skin. Now I talk about the micellar water, the Skin Vigorate brush. I talk about the eye creams, the benefits of using the eye cream. Sometimes I'll talk about I used to always talk about the hydrogel patches, but now I like to keep them for my intro or my good morning post on Tuesdays, that I'll have like a picture of a cup of coffee and my picture of myself wearing the hydrogel patches and, being like, girl, let me tell you, you need these. And, then I go into, this is what I love about them. And then from there on in, then I go into, okay, so day 2, and I do post in that post that today we're going to go over foundations and concealers. And then I branch off into the importance of primer, foundation brush options, that sort of thing. And so that is Tuesday. And depending on how things go, I will post a poll, like on there. You can create a post and then have it set as a poll where they can vote on what they want to see. So every group is different. You're going to get people that are like farm people that are not really into makeup and they want to learn about the skincare. They want to, know about the satin hands. They need satin lips. They're curious about the men's line, that type of thing. So that's where I try to really, gauge the content that I share. And so for the most part, every party is pretty well the same, but with that being said, I do change it up from time to time, because I find sometimes you get people that they want to know all about contouring, or they don't care about contouring and they want to know about brows and mascara. Or was it just last week where the company had that flash sale with mascara? So it's like, well, okay, so Monday we're going to start out talking about mascara Monday. So then it was like, I just kind of shifted things, and I went from mascara to eye makeup remover. And then, then I went back to skincare, and I kind of just started out. So for the most part, it's pretty much the same. So then so after I go into primers, then I'll go into, I usually do the dash out the door look, which is the cream eye color, CC cream, blush, mascara, and a lip gloss. So I'll do a post on that, and then I'll do another one. Then my next one will be, okay, for the girls that are all about the glam, here's the Chroma Fusion line, 33 eyeshadows, la da 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 da. These are the palettes that you can choose from. These are some different looks you can choose from. And so I'll do that. And depending on how things are going with commenting, I'll throw in a game here and there. And Pinterest is fabulous. So is Google. You can find lots of stuff on there. There is all kinds of, there was just one I found actually when the company had that flash sale with the mascaras. There was one that I found on what's your mascara personality or something. There is what's your lipstick personality based on how you wear your lipstick, what the shape of it is after you use it. There's all kinds of images and stuff that you can find, and I save it on, for the most part, I'm doing it on my phone. So I will save it on my phone, and then I just have a folder in my phone that I've got all the images on there, and I'll just pick and choose which ones I want to use, and go from there. So then I go into color, and then of course, like brows, mascara, just like you would at a party. But some of the things I'm only talking about, I'm not necessarily going in depth on. So depending on what they want to see, I will usually do one live. And last week I didn't go live at all. It didn't seem that anybody really, nobody was interacting that much, and I didn't do any lives. So it's like, okay. The week before, I had people that wanted to learn about how to put concealer on and with brows. So I did a 1-in-1, and then I'm like, hey, this is it. Now I'm going to go to this next group, and I'm going to do brows there. And then I went to my page and I did another live there. So it took me, maybe an hour, but I did 3 lives in that hour, and as one makeup look. But I just, here's a cookie for you. Here's a cookie for you. Here's a cookie for my business page. Working it smart, not hard. So then Wednesday, I don't know if I'm talking about Wednesday, but Wednesday I'll wrap up with anything else that I haven't talked about. So I'll do satin lips, I'll do satin hands, satin body. I'll talk about the product of the month right now. And then I'll start to, wind things down, as in like, who wants to book a party? We're looking for another hostess. Help Tiffany get her hostess rewards by booking a party. And I start to, and I'll throw that out there. If things are slow, then on, say, maybe Tuesday or even Wednesday morning, I'll just be like, here's a friendly reminder, link to my website. Oh, and another thing, sorry, I do a post talking about the Mirror Me and the Skin Site app. And I let them know that they get bonus points in the draw when they send me their results for the skin analyzer. So when they send me their results, I don't know how they do it, but they send it to me. And then I've run promos where if they buy 3 products out of that recommendation, they can get 20% off. Like, I've kind of just run little promotions like that. I just roll with it as it goes, depending on what I'm feeling, how generous I'm feeling, how the party sales are going, what other promotions, if the company has any flash sales, or like I said, the product of the month, that sort of thing. I'll kind of change that up a little bit. And so then Wednesday, I'll start to wind things down. That's when I am like, if nobody's really mentioned yet about, like, if there's nobody really super excited, just like back in the day when we did in-person parties, the person that's most excited, that's going to be our next hostess or our next prospective team member. So kind of the same thing. I'm like, or somebody that has a big wish list, but they're like, oh, I can only get this. Okay, well, you should become a hostess then. And so then I'll start, doing that. And then Thursday, I like to have everything wrapped up by noon. It hardly ever finishes by noon. It usually ends up that like Thursday night at 9 p.m. is when things finish up, because people are at work. Sometimes they get you get them all, right? You get the people that are super organized and they've sent you their order. You get people that send you their order on Sunday and you're like, girl, we haven't even started yet, but she's ready to order. So you get a little bit of everything. So with those people that are super excited, I will message them and I'll just say, hey, great. Thanks for your order. Do you want me to have that shipped out to you right away? Or do you want to just sit tight until Thursday when we close things out? And in case there's anything else that you want to add. And most of the time they want to know, right? Like, okay, well, I placed an order on your website and I put my credit card in. Is it going to charge me? How does that work? I'm like, no, it's sitting there vacant or dormant, waiting for me to, go ahead and do my stuff on my end. So if you want, I'll just hold tight on that until Thursday. And if you want to add something, let me know. And so then, and it's just coaching, right? That's all you're doing is coaching them. So then Thursday we're wrapping things up. I talk about the business, about, the benefits of becoming a consultant. I don't post that it's a 50% discount, but I post that, the starter kit's only $24 if you've had a fun time. If I'm behind with anything, sometimes life happens and posts don't get scheduled, or I mix up AM and PM, things like that happen. So if I need to catch up on anything, I'll try and do that on Thursday morning. And then that's where I'm like, oh, hey, sorry guys, I'm running a little behind on posts today. We're actually going to leave it open till Thursday night or till tonight at 9. So then they're like, whew, okay, I can get home and I can place that order. And if things are slow, then I'll post, don't worry, you still have time to order. We're leaving the party open till tonight. And usually Thursday is my busiest day. Thursday is when people are messaging, asking their follow-up questions or I'm messaging them, or that's where I'm talking with the hostess and she's either like super excited and has her wish list and knows everything she wants, or she's like, oh my gosh, I'm sorry, nobody's commented and I really feel bad for you. And I'm like, hun, don't worry about it. Its party hasn't closed yet. We're gonna see how it closes out. Don't panic, because I've had 2 this last month where the hostess has messaged me and been like, oh, like, I'm sorry, my people are lame. Like, no, they're not. And so it actually just happened this last week that the hostess messaged me. And so this is Thursday night. Thought the party was closed. I had another 2 website orders come in on Thursday after supper when we thought things were already closed. Both her sisters ordered. One was another $100 and the other one was another $150 in orders. That boom. And then there was another one actually, it came in and just an eye makeup remover. And so I'm like, okay, well, so anyway, she ended up e-transferring me another $4 for her because she used up the rest of her hostess credit. So it's like, you know what, you go with it and you have fun. If you need to leave it open another day, you can leave it open. But I like to try to keep them so that they're 3 to 5 days. I'm not trying to engage in posting any more than like that 3rd, 4th day. I'm not, because after that, you know how it is trying to keep ducks in a row. They waddle off, they go here, they go there, and you're like, ah, and you start to feel drained. So I will leave it open Friday, and then into Saturday only if I absolutely have to. So my averages have been anywhere from $300 to $500 in sales per party. As I said, as high as $1,400. And my goal is 1 to 3 bookings that I'm walking away from. So I had one party where I got 3 bookings. And that was another one that she was just come off a night shift and she's like, another one that's like, oh my gosh, my people are lame. Nobody's ordered. And I'm like, stop it. And so she just come off night shift and she's a nurse. And she's like, I gotta go. She's like, I'm going to go to bed. And I said, okay, before you go, I said, are you opposed to putting a post on your personal Facebook? Like, just, how you create a post like you would when you share stuff. Are you opposed to putting a post saying, hey guys, I'm having a Mary Kay party. Does anybody need anything? Just something very general, whatever, something very basic like that, because it never fails. So-and-so needs a mascara. So-and-so that she invited, but they didn't know how to accept the invite. But she's been previewing it all along, but she didn't know how to get in on it. She's like, yeah, I want to order. Her Baba, who's not on Facebook, wants to order, right? Like you get that. But we, as the person putting on the party, as a consultant, we got to coach them a little bit. So by asking her to do that, so in that case, when I got 3 bookings. I'm trying to remember how I did that. I had 2, and then someone else that she couldn't order a whole lot, she booked a party. And so that was this one that I just did this last week. So, and then I have another one booked for into March because they want to kind of space it out a little bit. And I will do. And so actually in that Janet's case, that was the hostess. She's a nurse. She went down. I think it's just like a baby. She went for a nap and I messaged a couple people. And next thing you know, she comes up for her nap and we talked. It was like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And her party was already at like over $300 in sales because they knew we were closing Thursday at noon. So they will wait until the last minute, right? You know how it is. You give us a deadline. It's just like your Zoom meetings. You're finishing up supper, you're, running around the house, and that's like, okay, put my jacket on. You be in pajamas on the bottom, but you're looking good on top, and you're in your computer 2 minutes early, right? Like it's the same thing. That Thursday at noon is when we're closing. So, and they, of course, like I said, they're not all mindful of that, but so I schedule it, like I said, 3 to 5 days max. And I really work that hostess program. So who's going to get a booking? And then sometimes I will. What I've started doing is offering, if nobody really wants to book a party, then when they're ordering, when each person orders, I will ask them, would you like to book a party from Tiffany's party? And then if it's still kind of like, then I will say, okay, so you and her both will get a half price item at your party. And so I'll start to throw in little incentives like that. And so back to my hostess, I was a nurse. In her case, she got 3 bookings. So sweet girl. She's been a client of mine. She's a single mom. And so in her case, now this is a personal choice, but I gave her, because she got 3 bookings and she wanted to purchase everything from the Miracle set minus the cleanser, because she had the apricot scrub cleanser, thought that maybe that was good enough. And I'm like, girl, you need to get the Miracle set because you save money. And so anyway, so she had told me what her budget was. And so I just said to her, I said, okay, if we can get that 3rd booking, I'll give you the Miracle set at half price. So no, that's not something that I normally do. I don't promote that. It was a last minute thing on, like I said, on the Thursday, that she just was so ecstatic that when she came up from her nap, that all of a sudden, she woke up and she had this hostess credit and everything had totally turned around. And she was such an awesome hostess. She commented on everything. She loved and liked all of the posts. She commented this and that, and, oh, I need these hydrogel patches. Your hostess is the gateway to those people. So you might need to, if things are a little bit flat, that's where you might need to say to the hostess, okay, girl, I need your help. Like, your people maybe they don't know me super well, so maybe they're a little bit hesitant. So can I get you to comment on some things? And I just had that happen this week as well. And so the hostess, she's like, I'm trying to distance from social media. I know a crappy time to be distancing when I'm having a Facebook party. And I'm like, you know what, whatever. It's good. It's good. So on Wednesday night, she went on and she started commenting on as many posts as she could. She tagged her Baba in the Voluform set because Baba couldn't find it. And, and so she started doing that. And next thing you know, like I said, Thursday, another order came in. And so that's just, and so actually her sale, we were $62 away. So I posted in the group and I said, okay, Marianne is $62 away from getting her hostess credit. Does anybody else want to order? So somebody ordered brow products and somebody else ordered, I don't remember what they ordered, but it ended up that we finished out over 300 or over 200, sorry. And I think her party closed out at, like, with her order and everything, it closed out, she placed a large order. So it closed out, $358, I think is what it was. So that's, sometimes your hostess ends up ordering more and she doesn't just take her hostess credit and fly with it. If she does, that you've got enough sales from the other people that you're still making money. It's still, putting money in your pocket. And when it's simple like that, it's not a big time investment on your part, because you've got all the images, you kind of have an idea of what you're going to say. And you can go on and you can schedule everything. And so I schedule a post every 1 to 2 hours, depending on life, but usually about every 2 hours. I don't post it at like 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 5 o'clock. I'll do like 1:18. 2:43, so that they don't have a clue that I'm off, doing whatever, not even near my phone. And then when I get back and I go on my phone, then I'm like, oh, okay, there's like 5 comments. I got to catch up with the girls, and then that's when you're interacting with them. So I will schedule all of my posts. So I try to get up early in the morning, and that's when I do all my schedule my posts. Or if I go to bed the night before, then I'll schedule the first one for like early in the morning, so that the people that are getting up, getting ready for work, that if they're on Facebook, that they can see that first post of the day or first two posts of the day. And then I'll sit down with my coffee and I'll figure out what else it is that I'm going to post throughout the day. And sometimes I'll change it up, right? Like if depending on the group, depending on how their interaction is going, all of that. And so I have done a couple of party swaps in the last couple of months with other companies. So I did a party swap with, I don't know how you say, Zaya Clothing. I had a party swap with her. I had a party swap before Christmas. I can't remember with somebody else. So I like doing that because you get to meet their people and they have a party and then you have a party and you just, that's how you network, right? You can make the most of that. And so with this Zia lady, she lives in Saskatchewan, down by like Carlisle, Weyburn. And so she had a party. Well, next thing you know, her party was the same thing. Not a whole lot of sales. And then she said, she posted it on her Facebook, having a Mary Kay party. Next thing you know, I'm getting all these orders from like Lampman, Saskatchewan, Langevin, I don't even know all these towns that I know of because I used to drive through them, but I don't really know of them that much anymore. And so I've got like this person and that person and like all these people, and it's funny because some of them are like people that I kind of know through barrel racing. And I probably never would have spoke to them about Mary Kay because usually we're riding our horses and not exactly doing Mary Kay stuff. But it's so cool because it's such a small world, but at the same time, it's not, right? You know what I mean? So you can network so like beyond what you could even imagine because it's all through friends in common and somebody else shares this and they host a party. And so one other thing that I will do is I like to try to have the group count up. So I like to have, usually if there's like 10 to 15 people in the group is kind of, I find what the averages are. Anything more than that, I'm like, okay, we need to get these numbers up. So I will do a post for a giveaway. If they add a friend into the group, then they get their name in the drawer. They get an extra bonus entry. So Tiffany is the hostess, but Marcy, who is in at her party, can add people. And for everybody that she adds and she tags in this post, they're going to get their name. They're both going to get an entry into the draw, an extra entry into the draw. So then that way, right, it's a friend of a friend of a friend. And next thing you know, that's how you multiply your numbers, not just adding one at a time. The other thing I will do is I'll go through under the group settings and you can see who's invited and hasn't accepted their invite. So, Monday, Tuesday, I'll go and I'll click remind. So then they get another notification that Tiffany invited you to her Mary Kay Beauty Escape. And so that's all in there. It's super easy and it's just being, being smart, not working super hard, but working smart about it. Just trying to think so the more people that they have in the group, obviously the better off it's going to be, because just like anything else, it's not magical, it's mathematical. So the more people that are in the group, the more people that are commenting, the more people that are interacting, then the better your numbers are going to be. So does anybody have any questions? That's kind of how I run it. I tried to make it easy for you to understand. I do a lot of them. They're like, honestly, a lot of them are the same. And Marcy, you've seen a few now that I'm doing. It's like, it's the same my story, except I just changed it to 15 years this month that I've been in Mary Kay. Like I changed little bits and pieces, but I changed my selfie. So I put some purple in my hair. Now I use that picture. Sometimes when it's like horsey people, I'll post a picture of me and my horse. When it's really glam people, and half the time I don't even, you might not even know who they are, but you have fun with it. Change your picture. Sometimes I'll be wild and put 2 pictures, it's like whatever. And same thing with pictures of product. I don't put 50 pictures of the ultimate mascara. I put 1 or 2. And then sometimes what I'll do is I will, thanks to Pinterest or Google, I've found before and after pictures of one eye with mascara on and one eye without. And I'll comment on, the lash intensity mascara. Here's a before and after of the lash intensity mascara. So then they're like, wow, I want that one. And what I've noticed is when I do that, and then if someone else comments, they might see a post and it says 15 images or 8 images, whatever it is. But if there's a comment on it, then each image comes up. As they scroll, each image comes up separately. So they might not be all about sitting there and looking through all the pictures, but if there's a comment on each one, then they get a preview of them separately. And if you have before and after pictures, the ones of, the charcoal mask, the one with that guy's nasty nose, yourself, a picture of yourself with the charcoal mask. We've got pictures of the, before and after of the skincare set, of the microdermabrasion, whatever it is. I don't talk about every single product. I talk about, your skincare, and these are my favorite supplements. Your favorite supplements might be different than my favorite supplements. You might be doing a party with 18, 20-year-olds. So you're probably not you might talk about the time eyes repair because she might have her grandma in there or her mom, but with them, it's not going to be, a lot about, you're probably not going to talk a lot about all of the anti-aging products. They might want brows. And if you are not sure on how to do a live, YouTube is amazing. Mary Kay Canada on Facebook. You can share those videos if you don't have your own. There's all kinds of stuff. There's pictures of like eyebrows here, here, here. Post that picture if you're not confident with doing a live, but I encourage you to do a live. When I first started out my live video, because I was not comfortable yet, my live video was like, hi guys, I'm Ashley with Mary Kay. I'm so excited, blah, blah, blah. And that was it. It was like under 30 seconds. Hi, see ya, goodbye. And then the rest was all just info. And now I'm like, I go on there, and then if somebody's on live with me and they start talking with me, I'm like, crap, I got to get off here. I've been on live for way too long. So, you become more comfortable with it. And the more experience you get, the more confident you get. And then that's when you start to spice it up and change it a little bit, because you're like, yes, I love this. It's fun. 31 ladies. Sales are low. Okay, hang on. I gotta read this. What could I have done differently? Okay, so I would say a couple questions. How long did you run it for? And then did you do any interacting posts, like to try to find out specifically? Because I've done that before, where the other thing is another possibility. I know I just rattled off a couple, but another one is, this is myself. I think it happened where I shared too much, right? Where I was like, pull out everything on my shelf. You guys want to see it? And they were just like too much. So I try to keep it simple, so that it's not so much that I overwhelm them. Because if somebody doesn't, I actually had that happen. The first Pampered Chef party that I had, the hostess, and I know her, they have lots of cows, and she like scheduled everything. And I think she actually scheduled it with like another, some app, Cinch Share. I don't know about all that extra stuff. I just do my own thing, but she scheduled all these posts, and I'm like, holy crap, Erin, like there is like 30 posts in a day about all this stuff. Like it was a lot. And then 5 days with 3 videos. Okay, I'll come back to that. So anyway, long story short, she had so much content shared that I even had one of my friends, she messaged me and she's like, holy crap, like there's so much stuff on there. And so sometimes we overwhelm them. So I usually, like, over the 3 to 5 days, there might be a total of 30 posts. I don't use a placemat. No, I talk about the skincare sets. These are the options. The dash out the door look. This is what it is. These are your options. The perfect palette or petite perfect pro. These are your options. And then I will do like these are some things that people buy together. So, you know, the primers, there's all about the primers. So there's different primers that are grouped together, but I don't have an actual placemat that I'm using. So 5 days with 3 videos and games, this or that. Sometimes I find, and so I will personally actually just did this one. It was a GIF and it's like, there's, I don't know if it's a gopher or something, but he's like, you guys there? And so that's my imitation of this GIF. So anyway, I just did that one and I'm like, hey, don't remember. And then I put little checks underneath. It was like, this is how you get your name in the draw and this is how you get entries. 1 entry equals, you know, comment on a post. 2 entries if you invite a friend. 5 entries if you, how did I do it? If you book a party. And then, an entry per $50 ordered. And then the last check mark was 10, or I think it did 10 entries if you join our team. So I had that. So then they're like, oh yeah, there's draws. And so then they can go back and they can comment because people are working, right? Sometimes they're on shift work. Sometimes they're working a stretch and they're sleeping and then their kids are sick and then life happens and, you know, the dog pukes and whatever, you name it. And they don't get around to it. The other thing, like, I think the big thing would be if found that 2 things, if you found that it was not super successful, engage with your hostess and find out, you know, who she thinks might be, and really work on back to the hostess program and working with your hostess. And if nobody's commenting and interacting, then get her to help try and boost things up. Like I've had hostess post a picture of, this is my Mary Kay stash. This is how awesome these products are. This is what I love. And I didn't even ask her to do that. And then next thing you know, you get a couple orders coming in. Because like I said, your hostess is the gateway to those people. And now I lost what number 2 was, my other thought. It'll come back. Maybe. Keeping it over 3. Yeah, I'm just going to try and think. Is there any other questions? Oh, yes, you could do the sending a message personally to each person. I don't do that unless I really have or feel that I kind of have to, just because in the past I've had messages from, you know, random people that just because you got invited to the group. And depending on your personal preference on that, I personally, like I said, unless it's somebody that unless I feel guided to message the people, then most of the time I don't. But in that case, you could message people. The other thing you can do is tag them in the post. And so then that way tagging them in the post is just like a little nudge of, okay, party's closing, or this is the draw. And you don't want to tag them in every single post because then they get annoyed, right? That's when they turn off notifications and they're like, see ya, lady. So tag them in maybe 1 post a day or 1 post throughout the whole party. Oh, I remember the other thing. The other thing was, if it's a flop, don't stop. Keep going. Because just because that party might not have been super, book another one. Just like you would do when you did your perfect or power start, right? You didn't stop at 1. You did another one and then another one and then another one, because one party is not going to make or break your business. You need to keep doing another one and then another one and keep going. Next, booking another one. Because like I said, just because my first 2 started out at $1,200 and $1,400, remember I said I had a couple other ones before that I didn't really, till I kind of found my groove of how I wanted to actually run this. It took me a while. So I had probably done about 2 to 3 or 4 prior to that were not as successful. And now, like, if I'm walking away if we only get $200 in parties and sales and I get 1 or 2 bookings, I'm excited because that's future business. And like Mary Kay said, if you are leaving bookings on the table, when you leave your appointments, you're leaving money on the table. And then fast forward so now where I'm at is I'm going back to the people that were in those groups from starting last year in May, June, you know, all throughout until February now of, okay, I got to go back and follow up with some of those people that didn't order. So now I'm starting to where I go back and I message, and I try to message 3 a day. And I just say, hey, Janet, it's Ashley with Mary Kay. We met at Tiffany's party last spring. Or I was the consultant that did Tiffany's party, if maybe we didn't connect. And just, hey, I just wanted to touch base, see, if you are using Mary Kay, interested in seeing, we have a spring product launch coming up here right away. If you're maybe possibly interested in being a hostess, I'm always looking for people to work with. You can get free product. And this is where, when I'm booking them, I always make it simple. All I need you to do, Janet, is pick a date and invite your friends. I do the rest. So, because right away they want to know, like, oh, what does that entail? Two things. You pick a date and you invite your friends. I do the rest. I do all the work for you, honey. Like, you want to keep it as simple as possible so that they're not overwhelmed and putting the brakes on. Because sometimes when they think of hosting a party, they think that they need to be on all the time. Like I said, with Marianne from last week, that was distancing herself from Facebook. Well, she popped on Wednesday and caught up on things. So that's how easy it was for her. So making it as simple as possible, not only for you, but for them as well. So yeah, I would, if you had 31 people, I would, if you feel like you've exhausted all efforts on this one, leave it sit, go on to the next one. And in a week or so, come back and just say, hey guys, following up, or leave it open for another couple days, but you can't put all your eggs in that one basket of that one Facebook party. Keep going, book another one. Don't let it stop you or paralyze you from doing more. Any other questions or anything? Okay. You're welcome.
Okay. Is that it for questions then? We're good. Thanks so much, Ash.
You're welcome. Bye, guys.
See you later, guys. Have a great week.